is my TNA No Surrender 2008 pay-per-view review. Pay-per-view started off with Sting doing a promo announcing that he's going to be taking on the winner of the main event at next month's Bound for Glory pay-per-view. So Sting will be main eventing Bound for Glory for the third year in a row. And then after this, you see Don West and Mike Today on commentating, announcing that due to travel issues caused by Hurricane Ike in Houston, Texas, Booker T was unable to arrive in Canada for the pay-per-view, so instead of it being a four-way main event, it turned into a triple threat. The first match up of the evening was the Rock and Rave infection of Jimmy Rave, Lance Rock, and Christy Hemming versus the Prince Justice Brotherhood of Curryman, Super Eric, and Shark Boy. And this was like you would expect, a comedy-based match, comedy sports entertainment match. It wasn't as bad as what I was expecting. The crowd was into it a little bit. You saw a lot of good comedy stuff between Curryman and Christy Hemming in this match. Jimmy Rave got in some good offense. It was a match that started off the evening and the crowd enjoyed it, but overall it wasn't, a great wrestling match. But for comedy match, it was okay. 1 3/4 stars. The end of the match comes when Super Eric hits a double Death Valley driver to Lance Rock and Jimmy Rave. Right before that, Shark Boy hits a stunner to Christy Hemming, and Curryman pins her for the victory. And then the next matchup is the Falls Count Anywhere Knockouts match between Amazing Kong versus ODB. And this was pretty much a generic Falls Count Anywhere match. I thought this gimmick wasn't necessarily needed to be on here. And this match, just didn't feel like a match that should have been on the pay-per-view. You saw some decent stuff in here, decent stuff at best. Early on in the match, you saw Raisha Saeed get involved, trying to attack ODB. You saw them brawl a little bit. Then some double teaming. Amazing Kong did some good stuff in here. You saw at one point in this match, ODB gets powerbombed through a table. Only gets a 2 count. The table didn't give way, so it kind of made it not look that great. The end of the match comes when Amazing Kong hits a spine buster through a table into the corner onto ODB in about a 2-star match. I was expecting a little more from it, but it felt like it was a match that was just thrown together, though. Then the next matchup was Team 3D versus Abyss and Matt Morgan. And this match, just from start to finish, kept on dragging on and dragging on. Just like I said in my predictions video, this match wasn't a match that should have been on the pay-per-view. This felt just like an Impact match. And I thought we might have at least got something good out of here. I thought we might have at least got Mick Foley coming out after the match, but you didn't see that. He wasn't a part of this pay-per-view. Surprisingly, I thought he would have, got involved after this match. I guess they're going to wait till the Impact tapings, and he's going to debut this week on Impact, probably. Just not a good match at all. Very lackluster match. Abyss and Matt Morgan pick up the victory after Abyss pins Devon after hitting the Black Hole Slam in a 1 1/4 star match. Just a terrible match. Then the next matchup was the X Division title match between Sheik Abdul Bashir versus Consequences Creed versus Petey Williams. Like you would expect, this pay-per-view being in Canada, Petey Williams was highly over with the crowd. This was a pretty decent X Division match. I was expecting a little more from it, especially since Creed and Williams did work very well with each other last month. Sheik Abdul Bashir, he gave a different dynamic to this match. And he actually picks up the victory in this match and becomes the X Division champion after Petey Williams hits the Canadian Destroyer onto Consequences Creed. He goes for the pinfall. Sheik Abdul Bashir pulls him out to the ring, throws him into the barricade, and then just comes in, gets the cover, and is the X Division champion. Which I'm actually glad he became champion, because I think it's a new dynamic to the X Division. You don't really get that heel X Division champion, or at least a great heel X Division champion. I think Sheik Abdul Bashir, a.k.a. The Bar, he really can do that. It was a good overall match. Expecting a little more, but 2.5-star match. You did see some good stuff in the match. Then the next matchup was the TNA Knockouts title match between Angelina Love versus the TNA Knockouts champion, Taylor Wilde. Just a very, very generic match. Unfortunately, Taylor Wilde is still the Knockouts champion. Not that much of a huge fan of Angelina Love. I would have much rather seen Velvet Sky in this match, but I hate Taylor Wilde so much that I would almost have anyone defeat her. And I'm not a fan of ODB, and I would like to see her defeat her, but since both of them are somewhat faces, that won't happen. Unfortunately, I thought she would have picked up the, lost the title here. She didn't. She wins with a Fisherman Buster, so I guess her moves now are either a roll-up Fisherman Buster or a German suplex. Very generic women's match. Was expecting a little more from it. It was at least decent. 2 1/4 stars. It did start off pretty good. Then the next match up was Sonjay Dutt versus Jay Lethal in the Ladder of Love match. And before this pay-per-view, I was expecting this gimmick to hurt this match, but it really didn't. It was, the only thing that you could really say bad about this, instead of a title hanging up there, it was just, a little, basically a little part holding a ring up there, which was the only bad part of it, but it really didn't hurt the match. You saw a lot of good stuff in here. Good overall ladder match between the two, a lot of good stuff. Like I expected, like probably everyone expected, was at the end of this match, you see Sonjay Dutt and Jay Lethal both climbing to the ladder. SoCal Val gets in the ring, low blows Jay Lethal, and Sonjay Dutt gets up, grabs the ring, and you see them basically, this whole plan that they did, and now they're together. So it's going to be interesting to see what they do with Jay Lethal's character here, or Black Machismo's character. I'd like to see him get out of that character, and this be like a perfect way to get him out of there. But his merchandise as that gimmick sells good, and he is pretty still over with that gimmick, so I don't know if they would get rid of it. But a good overall ladder match, a lot of great stuff in there. I would say even with the gimmick, 3.5 stars. You saw a lot of good stuff in there. Then the next matchup was LAX versus Beer Money Incorporated. Pretty much the same type of match you saw last month at Hard Justice, which it was a good tag team match, not a great tag team match. LAX end up losing this match after Robert Roode, he hits a Fisherman Buster to Homicide after Jacqueline gets a beer bottle in there and smashes it into Homicide's eye. Same type of gimmick. They end the match 2 3/4 stars. It was a good tag match. Could have been maybe a little better, but I do got to say that not a fan of Beer Money Incorporated, but definitely Robert Roode and James Storm are really starting to develop into a good tag team. Then up next, we see the bullshit match of the night, which was Frank Trigg versus AJ Styles in an MMA amateur rules match. And I can sum this up in 3 words, and that's what the crowd said, and this is bullshit. This was not a good match. I don't know why TNA wants to try to do these MMA matches. It's okay to have MMA-based influence in wrestling, but don't try to stage an MMA work fight. It looks ridiculous and really makes your company look fucking stupid, which it did here. The crowd wasn't into it. It was fucking stupid. All you heard in this match from the crowd was, "This is bullshit. We want wrestling," and fire Russo. Thankfully, this ended in the second round very early after AJ Styles low blows Frank Trigg. Terrible match. Should not have been on here. Now, if this was a regular pro wrestling match, you would have saw like a technical mat-based wrestling with a little puro strong style, then this could have worked out. It could have actually been good, and due to that, I'm not giving this match a rating. I don't think it deserves it. Then the main event was the triple threat between Samoa Joe versus Christian Cage versus Kurt Angle for the TNA World Heavyweight title. Excellent main event. A lot of good stuff in here. Some people might have a problem with the ending. They end it with comes out Jeff Jarrett because the referee Earl Hebner was knocked down. Kurt Angle was trying to get a cheap victory using a steel chair to Samoa Joe. Jeff Jarrett comes out there, hits Kurt Angle with a guitar shot. Then Joe hits a muscle buster to him, picks up the victory. And even though that was the ending of it, I felt, if you would have had a clean ending, this could have possibly been a 4.5 star match. The ending hurt it just a little bit, but not that much. Still, a very good main event. 4 1/4 stars. Probably TNA's second best match of the year so far, just behind Kurt Angle versus AJ Styles from last month. So very good main event. Really, overall, I would give this pay-per-view about a 7.5. That's what I would give it. A good overall pay-per-view, but not a great pay-per-view. Worth checking out the main event and probably the ladder match. Those are the 2 matches I would recommend checking out from this pay-per-view. Overall, like I said, pretty good pay-per-view. Terrible MMA match. Shouldn't have been on the pay-per-view. And some of the undercard was bad. But overall, you got a pretty enjoyable pay-per-view. So it looks like next month we're going to be seeing Samoa Joe versus Sting in the main event. Hopefully Sting puts over Samoa Joe and Samoa Joe retains the title. And due to Jeff Jarrett's interference during the match, helping out Joe and costing Angle the match, we're obviously going to see a Jeff Jarrett versus Kurt Angle match, which I think will actually be pretty good. So you got two matches right there for Bound for Glory already that look like they could possibly be good. Possibly might get some Ultimate X match or something on the lines of that. So I guess we have to wait and see. Could be some interesting stuff after this pay-per-view coming from Impact. See what they do with Jay Lethal's character. The build-up with Sting and Joe hopefully will be good. So, like I said, good pay-per-view, not great pay-per-view, and that's it. Peace.